I have never really known how to describe my taste in music. If you ask me what genres I like, the answer usually trails off into a confused pause. Scroll through my personal library, and you will find an overwhelming volume of tracks. There is a staggering amount of everything, and the collection actively resists any kind of easy categorization. To an outside observer, this listening history looks like a series of random, disjointed aesthetic phases. It gives the impression of a scattered mind, grabbing whatever catches the ear on any given day. Let's look at the timeline. During my first few years living in Luxembourg, my playlist was dominated by classical music. I was listening heavily to Mozart, leaning on the predictable structure and absolute clarity of those compositions. Then, during the COVID lockdowns, the pattern shifted. My daily rotation filled up with older, nostalgic voices, music that had already survived the test of time. Specifically, I found myself constantly returning to the familiar, grounding harmonies of the Beatles. Right alongside them, the enduring pop melodies of ABBA became a daily staple in this era of nostalgia. After the 2024 Paris Olympics wrapped up, another distinct layer solidified in my habits. A heavy rotation of French chansons took hold and refused to fade out. Yet, right in the middle of that French acoustic phase, modern atmospheric electronic artists like Kelly Lee Owens suddenly appeared in the mix. The genres across these eras look contradictory, but if you listen closely to the acoustic French tracks and the modern electronic beats, they share an identical feeling of space. The sonic texture changes, but the psychological room they create is identical. To figure out why these specific songs were grouped together, I pulled my raw data. We are looking at a Spotify playlist containing over 1,700 individual tracks, accumulated over 7 years. I took this massive dataset and fed it into a modern large language model, or LLM. An LLM is a type of artificial intelligence trained to recognize complex patterns within massive amounts of text and data. I gave the AI a very specific prompt: ignore traditional genres completely. Instead, use probability-based pattern detection to analyze the underlying mood, pacing, and tone of the tracks to find the person inside the data. The results showed that these 1,700 songs do not cluster by standard industry labels like rock, pop, or classical. This animated diagram shows how the AI reorganized the data. It mapped the tracks into distinct fluid environments based entirely on their psychological function. A moment of wonder. This playlist reveals itself as a structural emotional infrastructure. The AI began by identifying a specific group of tracks, like those from Carla Bruni and Zaz, that shared a high degree of readability. It called this mode presence, which we can picture as a quiet window. In this presence mode, music is used to exist within a space. It provides a way to observe the world and regain internal form. Next, the AI isolated a cluster of atmospheric electronic tracks that shared a specific foggy or liminal quality. It named the second mode transition, representing the inside of a moving train. This music functions as a tool for movement. It allows the listener to move through mental fog and periods of uncertainty without panicking. Finally, the AI identified a third cluster of emotional vertical tracks from artists like U2 or Bon Jovi. It named this orientation, representing the open sea. When the external world becomes loud, this orientation music is deployed to find a steady course and a distant horizon. The data maps a sequence of psychological tools used for emotional survival. These aren't isolated phases. They connect and flow into one another, functioning together as a single, unified system. Musical preference is a calibrated internal mechanism. It allows us to transition between difficult emotional states without losing our sense of self. This provides a logical framework for what used to look like a random taste in music. It is worth noting that the AI experiment did not generate a single new musical recommendation, nor did it create any new information. The songs remained exactly the same. The only thing that changed was that the existing data stopped being misread. Your own long, messy playlist is a map of your internal architecture. By analyzing our data through this lens, we can recognize structural truths about ourselves, things we already knew, but simply didn't know how to name. These collected items act as agents, quietly organizing the subconscious.